Morning, guys. Welcome back to another session of DevOps. So, so we'll start our class with AWS EC2 service. Okay. So whoever has joined today for the first time, so please reply in the chat box. So for the new guys, I'm going to take the demo session by the end of this class. Okay. So guys, this is the second class. Yesterday was the demo session, and today we are going to start our DevOps actual technical part. Okay. So the people who have joined newly today, I'll be taking the demo session after this, once this class ends. Okay, so don't worry about that. So yeah, I know that, Amarinder. So Hari Krishna, I hope you have joined today, and Rashu Shreyansh, I hope you have joined today for the first time. So I'll be taking the demo class after this session ends. Okay, don't worry about it. I'll be giving the demo about what is DevOps and about myself and what exactly we are going to learn. All those details will be provided by the end of this class. So as of now, just try to go through with this whatever we are learning today. Okay, about Amazon EC2. Fine. So let's continue. So so guys, yesterday I have told you, right? We are learning DevOps here. Okay, we are learning DevOps here. So in real time, the DevOps, whatever the tools we are going to use, okay, will be in Linux environment, Linux. Some people call it as Linux, some people call it as Linux. It's up to you, whatever you want to call, you call it, okay? So what are the DevOps tools we are going to learn? Okay, that will be in Linux platform. A lot of the servers in real time in different stages, okay, production environment, staging environment, testing environment, all the servers, most of the time it will be in Linux environment. So we are going to learn Linux first, okay? Before DevOps, we are going to learn Linux. So in order to learn Linux, we need some servers, right? We need Linux servers. So for that reason, we are learning AWS here, because in AWS cloud, we're going to launch our Linux servers. Okay, so this is the hierarchy. Okay, this is the way we are going to learn our uh, DevOps course. Okay, first AWS, then Linux, then the DevOps tools. Clear, right? So we'll start with our first AWS service, which is EC2. Okay, EC2. So what is EC2? Why it is so important, and how we are going to launch our different servers in EC2? That is what we are going to discuss from today onwards. Okay. So I see some people have joined today, Rohin and Saima and other guys. So guys, and Ajay also. So whoever has joined newly today, guys, I'm going to take the demo session for you after the once this session ends. Okay, and so don't worry about that. I'll definitely give the demo session once this today's class is completed. Fine. So let's start EC2. Okay. One second, guys. I'm launching my application. Just one second. Okay, guys. So EC2. Okay. So in AWS, we have around 175 plus services. Okay, 175 plus services in AWS. AWS stands for Amazon Web Services. Okay, it is a cloud service platform which has been launched by Amazon company. Okay, for various different AWS services. So we have around 175 plus services in AWS. Okay, so what I will do first, let me show you the process of creating our account. Then we can see the different services and all. Then we can go ahead and see the EC2 service. Okay, so if you go ahead and type AWS console, okay, in Google, so the first link, okay, the first link will be the first link you can use it for logging into the AWS. Okay, so if you click on like this, log back in, or you can click on sign into console, you will be asked for the credentials. Okay, something like this, you'll get the page like this. So here we have to give our username and password. So if you don't have username and password, click on the create a new AWS account. Okay, so we need our AWS account in order to practice our DevOps classes. Okay, in order to launch the Linux servers and different Windows servers, we need to create our AWS account. So very simple, guys, nothing fancy here. Just like creating our Gmail or Facebook account, we can give our credentials and you can get it done. Okay, so provide your email address, password, and confirm that password, and what are the name you want to choose for this AWS account. Give that name here, click on continue, and you will be prompted for address and mobile number. Okay, so once you give your mobile number, you will be getting a 4-digit OTP, 4-digit pin. You have to enter that 4-digit pin, so that the next stage you will be going on. Okay, in the next stage you will be asked for the credit card or debit card details. So once you give your credit card or debit card details, a 2 rupees will be deducted from your account. Okay, 2 rupees. So that is to just verify that your card is working, and within 1 or 2 days that 2 rupees will also be refunded to your account back. Okay, so it will take some time for activation, and you have to go to your Gmail or whatever the email address you give here. To that email address you'll be getting a activation link. Okay, so click on that activation link and your AWS account will be created. Okay, so by default you'll be getting 750 hours. Okay, 750 hours of free training. Okay, you can practice for 750 hours for free training, or 12 months. Okay, 12 months, whichever comes first. Okay, so either you can practice for 750 hours, and if 750 hours are not consumed within 12 months, your free tier account will be expired. Okay, so you'll be getting a free tier account, guys. See here, free tier account, free tier account with limitations. Not everything will be free in AWS for 12 months. Okay, some of the services with some of the features will be free for 12 months. Okay, or 750 hours. So AWS follows a method called pay as you go. Pay as you go. Pay as you go means whatever the services you are using, you have to pay as per the time consumption. Okay, for example, if you are using for 1 hour, you have to pay for 1 hour. Okay, if you are using for like 30 minutes or 30 minutes or 5 minutes also, you have to pay for that particular time. Clear, right? So creating your account is very much important. So I hope you guys create your account by today, so that we can from tomorrow onwards we can launch our Linux servers and practice it. Okay, so please be ready with your AWS account by tomorrow. Fine. So the next thing is, once you're done, okay, created your account, we can log in into the AWS account. Okay, so what I'll do, since I have the credentials, let me log in into my AWS console. I hope that's clear, right? If you guys have any doubts, please ask. this is the AWS management console. Okay, so you'll get something like this dashboard. So if you observe here, see here, this is the logo, this is the services part. We'll discuss about this. This is the search bar. Okay, this one is search bar, and this is your account name. Whatever the account name you give, you will be seeing here. And this is the region. Okay, so we'll discuss about this region also. Support. Okay, so the first thing, services. Okay, so if you click on this services part, okay, if you click on this drop down, you can see lot of names are present here. Okay, so these are the services which are being, these are the services which are being provided or offered by the AWS. These are the different services which are being offered by AWS. Now these are like around 175 plus services. Okay, these are, there are like sub programs also. There are like sub services inside one service. There are like sub services, including all those sub services. There are around 175 services as on today. Okay, and each service is created by AWS for a unique purpose. Okay, unique purpose. So we can host our applications. Okay, we can maintain our databases. We can use our IoT related services. Okay, for Internet of Things. And if you're a person working on machine learning, then there are services related to machine learning as well. Okay, so in that way there are like 175 services for different technology, different domains, which can be used, and we can complete our application. Okay, so AWS is developing more and more services, okay, based on the latest technology trends which is happening around the world. Okay, they're trying to develop, they're trying to add more and more services, okay, which will be like, which is in demand. Clear it? So to learn all the 175 services is not an easy task. Okay, because a lot of, we should have a knowledge in different areas of, okay, different areas of technology. So learning all the 175 services is not a very easy task. Okay, that's why they have created a separate course, okay, for each and every I mean, with a certain set of services. Okay, so if you guys are interested, you can do your AWS certification as well. That will be very good, and you can go ahead and you can join a separate course for AWS, and you can complete your certification. Okay, that will be taking around 60 to 90 days based on the course and what are the services you are learning. Okay, so here if you see here, we have this, we have modules. Okay, we have something called modules. Now these are there, right? This is compute module, customer enabled module, storage module, satellite module, blockchain module. So like that, we have different modules here. Okay, these are modules in which we have services. Okay, in which we have services. Now inside this compute module, we have EC2, Lightsail, Lambda, Batch, okay, Elastic Beanstalk. These are the services which are available inside the compute module. In the same way, in database, we have RDS, DynamoDB, Elastic Cache. Okay, like that, we have different services inside the module. So these are the modules which are, we can see here in the top heading. Okay, now as I told, we are discussing here EC2 service. Okay, EC2. Now EC2, so let me click on that EC2, but before that, let me explain the other headings also. Okay, other options which is available here. So whatever the service you want to choose, you can come down, you can scroll down here, and whatever the service you want, you can select it, and that particular service will be going into that service page. Okay, so as of now, I'm just closing this. Okay, now here we can see our account name. Okay, if you click on this account name, you can see your account related information. Okay, account related information. If you want to see the how much billing has been happened, okay, if you say, if you want to change your password, if you want to log out, you can use this account related information here. Now we have something called regions here. Okay, if you click on this, we have something called regions. Okay, so AWS have divided their infrastructure, okay, all around the world. They have set up their centers, right? What are the centers? They have data centers. So the data centers have been divided in different regions. Okay, so in Asia we have Hong Kong, Mumbai, Osaka, Seoul. Okay, all these places are there for in Asia Pacific. Okay, so in India we have only one data center which is in Mumbai. Okay, which is in Mumbai. So it is always advised to select the nearest region where you are. For example, I'm in Hyderabad. Okay, so what will be the nearest region for me in this list? The nearest region will be Mumbai, right? Nearest region will be Mumbai. Why? Because I have to choose Mumbai because it is always advised to select the nearest region, because whatever the network latency is there, right? Whatever the servers we are going to launch in that region, we will be able to connect it to those servers very fast. Okay, there is something called network latency or network lag, right? So what are the servers which you are going to launch? Okay, if those servers are geographically far away, it will be very difficult to connect to those servers. Okay, see, we can launch servers in US also. Okay, North Virginia, Ohio, North California, we can launch servers in any region, but to connect to those servers, it will take a few seconds more. Okay, okay, so in order to reduce that time, okay, to connecting to those servers and all, okay, so to reduce the network lag and network latency, it is always advised to launch the servers to the nearest region which is available to us. Okay, for me, since I'm in Hyderabad in India, for the nearest region will be Mumbai. Okay, so if you guys are from if anyone is joining from Australia or something, they can select nearest region as Japan, Tokyo. Okay, Tokyo will be nearest to them. Fine. So similarly, if anyone is joining from Middle East, they can select what they can select Bahrain, right? So for us, Mumbai will be nearest, and the second nearest region after Mumbai, Singapore will be the nearest region. Okay, understood, right? The purpose of regions and all. So here I'm going to select Mumbai here. Okay. By 2022, in the middle of 2022, by like second quarter, AWS is going to launch another data center in India, which will be in Hyderabad. Okay. Then in 2022, we can see two regions here. Okay, two regions next to Mumbai. We can see Asia Pacific, Hyderabad as well. Okay, fine. So I have selected Mumbai here. So if you need any support from the AWS guys, if you have any concerns, if you have any doubts, you can go on and connect with AWS customer support. Okay, so you can click on this support button, and you can select support center, and you can create a case. You can log a you can there is an option called logging a ticket. Okay, so you can go ahead and you can log a ticket with the AWS management, and the customer support guys will get back to you for the whatever the issue you are facing. Okay, and also like all the documentation part, very beautiful documentation part is present here. So whatever the services you are learning, if you want any documentation part, you can click on this documentation and you can get it done. Okay, clear it. Now what I'm going to do, click on these services and click on this EC2. Okay, this is what we are going to learn here, right? So in the compute module, we are going to launch EC2 service. So click on EC2. Okay, so this is EC2 dashboard. Okay, EC2 dashboard means this is the home page of EC2. Okay, see here, see this, you can see something called EC2 dashboard. So there are like different options which are available in EC2. Okay, these are the different options available in EC2. Okay, so what exactly EC2 means? Let's try to see some theory part. Okay, now many people think that EC2 stands for Elastic Cloud Compute. Okay, Elastic Cloud Compute. So let me write it here. EC2 service. So many people think that it is Elastic Cloud Compute. Many people pronounce it as Elastic Cloud Compute. Okay, so please note that it's not Elastic Cloud Compute, it is Elastic Compute Cloud. Okay, remember this. Okay, Elastic Compute Cloud. This is the correct one. Okay, So first we need to understand why this name has been given for this service. Okay, why this name has been given. So first one is, let's try to break this down. Okay, let's try to understand uh, cloud first, then compute, then elastic. Okay, so first we'll try to understand cloud. Okay, so cloud means what? This is a cloud service. Okay, since we are hosting our infrastructure, we're going to launch our servers and all, right, in cloud, right? Cloud platform. Since AWS is a cloud platform, that is why this name is given as cloud. Okay, all our EC2 instances and all our EC2 infrastructure we are going to launch will be in a AWS cloud. That is why cloud has been given in this name, right? S- Right. So this is a cloud service. That is why cloud has been given in this EC2 name. The next one is compute. Okay, compute. So by using this service, EC2 service, okay, we can launch n number of servers. Okay, we can launch any number of servers according to our requirement, that too with any kind of predefined configuration. Okay, for example, if you want to launch one server, okay, if you want to launch one server with one CPU, with one CPU core and 1 GB of RAM, okay, you can launch it without any issues. But if you want to launch 100 servers with same one CPU core and 1 GB of RAM, you can launch it. Okay, you can launch it with the same amount of time. Whatever the time you take for launching this server, you will be taking the same time for launching this configuration as well. Okay, so you can launch one server, you can launch 100 servers, or you can launch 1000 servers as well. Okay, so that is the power of EC2 service. Okay, you can launch any number of servers, okay, within very few minutes of time. Okay, so that is the power of EC2. Okay, cloud service. But if you just compare it with physical servers, if you're going to launch your servers in physical manner, okay, physically means physically buying a server, installing operating system, then installing the virtual machine virtualization software like VMware, then launching the VMs, it will take so much of time, right? It will take 1 day of time. Okay, but coming to EC2, the AWS cloud EC2 service, we can immediately launch server within 1 or 2 minutes. I'm going to show you that in practical as well. Okay, we can launch server in within 1 minute. Okay, so that is compute. Okay, whatever servers you want to launch, you can launch it without any delay. Okay, see here, when I'm using the word called compute, instance, okay, machine, PC, box, all these things are same here. Okay, so don't get confused. When I'm using the words called compute, PC, box, resource, instance, and desktop, okay, server, okay, all these things are same, guys. Okay, so don't get confused. All these things are nothing but the machines which you are going to launch in our AWS EC2 service. Okay, fine. So the next thing is elastic. Okay, so elastic means the elasticity which is present here in this service. Elasticity. Okay, so the elasticity to change the configuration of the servers up and down. Okay, so elasticity to change the configuration, okay, configuration of the servers by scaling up and down. Scaling up and down means, see, if you have launched a server, okay, you have launched a server which is having one CPU core, 1 GB of RAM, and 10 GB of space. Okay, after 1 month, whatever the application, whatever the software you are running, you came to know that this configuration is not enough. Your server has become very slow, and you want to increase the configuration. Okay, in physical way, what you will do, you will buy additional RAM, you will buy one additional hard disk, and you will install that hard disk and RAM, right? In that way, you will be increasing your configuration. Okay, but in cloud, what you will do, within 1 or 2 minutes, okay, within 1 or 2 minutes, you can increase the configuration to whatever the requirement you have. You can increase it to your requirement level. Okay, for example, if you want to increase it to 2 CPU core, 2 GB of RAM, 20 GB of hard disk space. Okay, hard disk space. So what are the configuration change you want to do? Okay, you can increase it up, and if you don't want, you can decrease it also. Okay, so that elasticity to increase, okay, increase the configuration and decrease the configuration, this is called as up and down. Okay, we are increasing and decreasing the configuration, right? So this is called scaling up and scaling down. Okay, so the option of increasing the configuration and decreasing the configuration is called as elasticity. Okay, and in EC2, in AWS EC2, we have this option called elasticity, and whenever and wherever, okay, to whatever the instance we are launching, whatever the server we are launching, we can increase the configuration according to our requirement. Okay, clear it? So this is how the name has been given, Elastic Compute Cloud. Okay, in short, we call it as EC2 service. Okay, any doubts here, guys? Okay, let me give you a small example. So if you have a laptop, okay, this is your laptop. Okay, this is your laptop. Now you have brought this laptop, and you have something called 4 GB of RAM. Okay, there is like 4 GB of RAM and 64 GB of hard disk space. Now you started using this laptop, okay, and you watched some videos and all, you have downloaded some videos, okay, you have installed some softwares, and you have been working. Now suddenly, after 1 or 2 months, your laptop has been I mean, what are the space is there at 64 GB. This 64 GB is consumed. Okay, now you don't have any space inside this laptop. Okay, you want to download some new videos, you want to install some softwares and all. So what you can do, what is the option you have to increase this hard disk space? What you can do, you have to you have to buy a new hard disk, and you have to buy a new RAM. You have to open up the laptop, right? You have to open the panel of the laptop. You have to remove the old existing hard disk and RAM, and you have to install the new hard disk and RAM, right? This is how we do it, right? This is how we increase the configuration physically, right? But in AWS, okay, without without touching the physical infrastructure, okay, without touching the physical infrastructure, we are going to change the configuration of our servers. Okay, that too by selecting some few options in EC2 service, we are going to increase the configuration. Okay, so that is a flexibility which is being provided in AWS. Clear it? So without touching the physical infrastructure of AWS, we are going to select some options, and we are going to increase the configuration or decrease the configuration. Okay, so that is the flexibility which is being provided here. Okay, clear it? Okay, now what we'll do, we'll try to understand the operating systems, and we will close it for today. Okay, because I have to take the demo also, right? So guys, we have operating system. So how many of you guys know that we have only two operating systems? Okay, basically in today's world, we have only two operating systems. One is Unix and one is Microsoft. Okay, Microsoft's operating system. So basically, see, yeah, so basically we have operating system divided into two ways. Okay, one is Unix, one is Microsoft. Okay, so Unix was an operating system. which is a freeware, okay, which is a open source. Okay, now operating system, if you guys don't know what exactly operating system is nothing but the interface for humans to interact with the computers. Okay, basically it will take our input, what are the input we give, and it will process the input what we are giving it, okay, and it will convert it into machinery language, okay, so that the computers can interact with us. Okay, whatever the input we give, it will process it, okay, it will convert it into machinery language, and it will give us the output. Okay, clear, right? So basically we have two OSs. Okay, in short, we can call operating system as OS also. So we have only two OS in the world. One is Microsoft Windows and the other one is Unix. Okay, so the Microsoft Windows is there, right? This one. So the Microsoft Windows is not free. Okay, we need to purchase it, okay, in order to use it, and we can get that operating system and we can start using it. And here we are not getting the source code. Okay, for Microsoft Windows we are not getting the source code. What exactly source code means? Source code means nothing but the software. What are the code is there, right? Operating system code which has been developed by the Microsoft developers. That code will be not provided for you for your personal customization. You can't modify it. Okay, but whereas coming to Unix, okay, Unix on the other side, it is free, and the code, whatever the source code is there, right, it is open source, which means that if you want to modify according to your needs, you can modify the source code and you can create your own operating system. Okay, so this is what exactly happened. Okay, a guy called Linus Torvalds, okay, a person called Linus Torvalds, he has taken this Unix operating system and he has modified some features, he has added some features, and he has given a name called Linux. He has given his own name. Okay, Linux. Some people some people call it as Linux, some people call this as Linux. Okay, the person who has invented it, he himself calls it as Linux. Okay, fine. So this Linux operating system is there, it is free and open source. These two are different words, guys. Free means we don't have to buy it. Open source means the source code is open to the whole world. You can modify the source code according to our requirement, and we can create our own operating system. Okay, similarly this like this guy Linus Torvalds, companies like Apple, Sun, IBM, HP. Okay, these companies have taken this Unix operating system and they have modified it according to their needs. Okay, they have added some features, and they have released their operating systems into the market. Okay, so that is what Apple company has taken Unix and they have modified it, and they have given their own operating system called Mac OS. Similarly, Sun company, which is currently Oracle. Okay, so Sun has created this Sun Solaris operating system based on Unix. Similarly, IBM has AIX, HPX. HP has its own operating system called HP UX. Okay, in Linux we have different operating systems. Okay, Red Hat Enterprise Linux, Ubuntu, CentOS, and all. So Amazon Machine Image, okay, there is something called Amazon Machine Image. Okay, now in AWS also, AWS guys has taken this Linux, they have modified this Linux operating system, and they have given a name called AMI. Okay, AMI. So AMI stands for Amazon Machine Image. Okay, so since we are going to launch our servers here in EC2, we'll be seeing this word called Amazon Machine Image. Okay, this is the modified version of Linux which has been created by Amazon Web Services. Okay, clear, right? On the right hand side you can see Windows. Okay, Windows, like we know that, right? Windows has two operating systems. So one is for desktops, one is for servers. Okay, so we can't use the desktop's operating system for server, right? Server has its own operating system which is having a lot of features, and this all these softwares, all these operating systems are commercial. Okay,
Wow, you got you got $1 billion. Okay, how big are you here? Okay, here, okay.
okay, now what I'm trying to say here is, if you if you are going to learn one operating system, okay, if you try to learn any one of the operating system, whether it's Red Hat, Ubuntu, CentOS, whatever operating system you are going to learn, okay, if you're trying to learn the commands here, Okay, whatever the commands you will be learning here, almost all 90% of the commands will be very much similar. Okay, what are the operating system commands you are going to learn? Okay, whether it's Red Hat, Ubuntu, or CentOS, the 90% of the commands will be similar to the other operating system. Okay, for example, if you are learning Red Hat here, okay, what are the commands we are going to use in Red Hat? The same commands can be used in CentOS and Ubuntu as well. There will be slight difference, and that commands we are going to see in our practical sessions. Okay, what are the difference is there, right? We are going to see that in practical sessions. Okay, so that small difference is there, right? That is what differentiates these operating systems. Okay, a small difference, small commands difference will be there, which you have to understand. Okay, so if you learn one operating system, that will be enough. Okay, all the commands will be very much similar. That is what I have written here. These are the some of the flavors of Unix. Okay, all these things are there, right? This operating system, these are the flavors of Unix, which has been derived from Unix operating system. Okay, almost 90% of the operating system commands are same. So if you know one operating system, we can use the same commands for other operating system. That is what I have written here. Okay, if you come to know one operating system, you can use the same commands for different OS as well. Clear, right? Yeah, fine. Any doubts, guys, until now? Okay, fine. So with this, we'll conclude for today, guys. From tomorrow onwards, we'll see the practical session, how to launch our EC2 instance. All the steps are there, right? We'll launch our first EC2 instance, which is Windows. Okay, and similarly, we go on with Linux operating system. We'll launch our EC2 instance in Linux as well, and after that, we'll launch our server, web server. Okay, so if you guys have any doubts, you can ask for today, because I have to take the demo session for the new guys as well. Any doubts, guys, until now?
One question I have.
Yeah,
Hello. Yeah, so
yeah,
Linux
yeah.
is a modified version of Unix, you told, right? I mean, they have used Unix operating
Yes,
system and
yes,
modified according to them and designed a
yes,
Linux, right?
correct. Yeah,
Then
yes,
Ubuntu or CentOS, did they modify Linux operating system and did they design the same their own operating system?
yes, yes. That is what I have shown you, right, in the diagram. Yes, Ubuntu, CentOS, Debian. Okay, all these operating systems have been derived from Linux, the main base Linux. Okay,
Not Unix.
I mean, again, see, Linux is coming from Unix, right? So
Yeah, yeah.
indirectly, which means that these operating systems are coming from Unix.
Yes, yes. Okay.
Okay, yeah. So any other doubts, guys? Fine. So if you have any doubts, you can ask. Okay, what I'm going to do now for the new students who have joined for today, okay, newly today, and who haven't attended the demo session yesterday, I'm going to take a demo session for now. Okay, so if you guys, the existing students who have attended yesterday, if you want to continue, you can continue the demo session as well, or if you want to exit, you can exit for today. We can continue our as usual classes from tomorrow onwards. Okay, fine. So yeah, so let me give this introduction part. Let me take a small 1 minute break. Okay, guys. If you guys have any doubts, you can post it in the chat box. Just give me 1 minute. Okay, guys. Fine. So here we are discussing about DevOps, guys. Okay, introduction to DevOps. So let me introduce myself quickly. My name is Venkatesh, guys. Okay, you can call me as Venkat. Okay, so I'm having 8+ years of experience in the IT industry. I have worked for companies like Wipro, Capgemini. Currently, I'm working for TCS, okay, Tata Consultancy Services. Okay, I'm a corporate trainer, and as well as I have taken interviews for the freshers as well as the experienced candidates for my respective companies. Okay, fine. So here I'm giving a small example, guys, why exactly we need DevOps. Okay, see here, these companies are there, right? These companies started launching. These are cab companies, guys. Okay, these are cab companies. They have started launching their, okay, they have started their operations in the year 2005, whereas these companies are there, right? These companies have started operations in India in the year 2010 and 2011. Okay, in between this period they have launched their operations. So there was clearly a gap of 5 years. 5 years gap is there between the left side companies and the right side companies. But still today in 2021, okay, in 2021, these two companies, Ola and Uber, the right side companies, are market pioneers. They are the number one companies in cab industry. Am I right? Why all in this 10 years of gap, in this 10 years of time period, 2010 to 2020, how these companies became number one, and why these companies, even though started way back in 2005, they didn't become number one. Okay, so that's the question. So the thing is that these companies were, they didn't focus on customer evaluation. They didn't focus on customer satisfaction, right? They didn't change their working model. Even today, okay, if you want to book a cab, you have to call to this company's customer care and you have to book a cab. Whereas coming to Ola and Uber, we have to install our app on our mobile and we can quickly share our location and our cab will be booked, right? So it is easy when compared to the other companies, right? So that is what changed. Okay, when these companies started, Ola and Uber started operations, they have launched their Android and iOS apps into the market, which made people to use those apps, which was very easy. The user interface was very easy and the working model was so simple, right? So that is what made Ola and Uber to become number one. Even today, if you go to Play Store and search for these apps, Miro, Dotcaps and Skycaps, you can find the apps, but very few people use them. Okay, very few people use them because they didn't change according to the market. They didn't occupy the market according to the customer's requirement. Okay, the whole world is moving towards apps and all. They didn't change their working model. They were still relying on the customer support, like calling to the customer support, and you have to book the cabs and all. Okay, so what I'm trying to say here is every company, whatever the company is launching their product into the market, they'll try to launch the product as soon as possible. Okay, and as well as what are the according to the market requirement. Okay, market requirement. So companies will try to understand what exactly the customer wants, and they'll try to launch the product as soon as possible so that it can acquire the maximum number of customers. Okay, so if a company is launching first time, obviously for the first time the number of users will be more, right? So in that way they'll try to capture the entire market. Okay, so every organization will have some goals. In order to achieve this, in order to capture the maximum number of customers in the market, every organization has some certain goals which it needs to follow. Okay, so we'll try to see what are those goals. Okay, so we have something called organization goals. There are like many goals in the many goals for a company to focus on, but these are the main important organization goals, guys. Okay, so faster delivery of the product. Okay, whenever a company is launching a product into the market, it will try to deliver the product into the market or to the customer as soon as possible. Okay, because when it is launching the product into the market soon, it will try to capture the maximum market share. Okay, for example, Paytm. Okay, you know Paytm, right? Paytm was launched, it was the first company, it was the first app which started payments by mobile. Okay, we started doing the payments using mobile, right? We started writing the phone number and we used to do the payments and all, right? Paytm was the first company. After that, a lot of companies started their own products: Google Pay, Amazon Pay, Phone Pay, right? But today, even today, Paytm is one of the leading companies in payments app, right? So every company, whatever the company which is trying to launch, it will try to deliver the product into the market as soon as possible. The second one is higher quality of the product. When you're launching a product, okay, whenever the company is launching a product into the market, you will try to see that the quality is not degraded. Okay, because If the quality is not there, many people will not trust the product. They will not use that product. Okay, so the companies will always try to see that the quality is not compromised. Okay, the third one is less expenditure in developing the product. When a company is trying to develop a product, and if they are uh, trying to cut down the cost, okay, for developing that particular product or software, okay, obviously when they're cutting down the investment, which means that they are gaining maximum profit. Okay, so less expenditure means more profit. Okay, so they'll try to see that they're spending less money for a developing the product or software. So the last one is minimized outages. Whenever they're trying to launch a product, okay, if the product is not working properly, okay, obviously the customers will be dissatisfied, which means that loss to the business. For example, you in December month, the Google company, the Gmail, the YouTube, as well as the Google Drive, Google Maps, all the services were down. I hope you guys remember. Very recently, Facebook and Instagram was also down, right? So it happens with major companies as well. Okay, when companies like Facebook and Google can go down, this means that any small company will also go down, right? So every company will try to see that these outages are minimized. Outages means downtime. Okay, whenever the servers are down, that means that outages. Because when these outages happens, people who try to access that application or software or the product, okay, that they will be not able to access it. Ultimately, a loss to the company is happening, right? So every company will try to see that these outages are less, so that they can focus on servicing, giving the service to the customers more. Okay, so these are some of the organization goals which are very important. Okay, now we have something called software development lifecycle. In every software development, okay, in every project, in every company, wherever the software development is going on, there are like there are different stages involved in software development. Okay, so let's try to see those, what are those software development stages. Okay, so we have something called software development lifecycle. In short, we call it as SDLC. Okay, software development lifecycle. Okay, so whenever a company is trying to develop a software or product, okay, what are the stages involved? The first stage is, first the idea is taken. Okay, how to develop that software, how to develop that product. The idea is taken, then the requirements are gathered. For example, who is going to work, what are the tools involved, how many days it is going to work. Okay, so all these details will be gathered, and the requirements are gathered to in order to develop that product. Next is the designing stage. They'll start designing the entire product. Okay, how to start, how to end, how to give the product to the client and all. Okay, all this designing will start taking place. And once these stages are completed, the development will start. Developing means the programmers are there, right? The developing team will start writing the source code. Okay, the developing team will start writing the source code. Once the code has been written, they will test that code, then they'll deploy that code. Okay, deploy the code to the customer servers. They'll try to check it out whether it's working properly or not, and it will be properly monitored and maintained. Okay, if any issues are there, the support team is there, right? They'll try to maintain this. So these are different stages involved in a software development lifecycle. Okay, see, there are like few more stages involved here, like build, okay, and QA stands for quality analysis. Okay, and after that here, monitoring. Okay, sending to Artifactory. Different stages are there, but these are the major stages. Okay, in this diagram, these are the major stages involved in a SDLC. Okay, understood, right? Now, so whenever this software is being developed, okay, so there are like there are two approaches how software can be developed. Okay, so we have something called waterfall model and agile model. Okay, so waterfall model means, what are the stages involved, right? Designing, designing, development, testing, QA, all the stages are there, right? These stages will be in a linear sequential phase manner, which means that if the first stage is completed, then only the second stage will come into effect. Okay, if the development is completed, then only the testing will take place. If the testing is completed, then only the QA will take place. and the once QA is completed, then only the deployment will take place. Okay, so once the stage is completed, then only the next stage will start. Okay, so that is the drawback here in waterfall model. Okay, until 2000, this was started in 2000. Okay, in the year 2000s, and in between 2000 to 2010, this model was working. Okay, after 2010, okay, nearly by 2009 and 2010, people started changing their focus from waterfall to agile. Okay, in agile, there is no problem of linear sequential phase manner. Okay, each and every stage is there, right? All the stages will be working in parallel mode. Parallel mode means development will be taking place parallelly, the testing will also take place. Testing is taking place parallelly, the QA and build process will be taking place. Okay, and the deployment will be taking place in the parallelly. So there is no dependency from the one stage to another. Okay, there is no dependency. See here, two arrows, right? Which means that two stages are running parallelly. So there is no dependency with one another. Okay, so what is happening here? Companies will be trying to develop the product more faster because multiple stages are working together, right? So they can deliver the product, they can create that product more faster, and they can hand over the product to the client at a faster rate. Okay, so that was the advantages of using agile methodology over waterfall methodology. Okay, so that is the difference between waterfall and agile. Now here, so whenever the development team, okay, whenever the development team is creating a product, okay, they're writing the source code, they're testing it, they're building it, they're handing over to the client. What client will do? The customer will try to use that product. They'll check for any issues like bugs. Okay, if they want any enhancements, if they want any new features into the product and all, what they will do, they will give feedback to the development team, right? They'll give feedback to the development team. So what will happen here? So the development team will start writing the code once again. Okay, why? Because the development team has to introduce changes, right? They have to introduce new changes into the source code, right? Because as per the client requirement, they have to work, right? So what are the changes, what are the new features they are going to add? They're going to add in the source code. So once they are adding the source code into the once they are adding the changes to the source code, it is creating a lot of work to the operations guys. Okay, now operation guys means what? Who are operation guys? System administrators, network administrators, release engineers, database administrators, cyber security professionals. All these guys comes under operation guys. And development team means what? Development teams nothing but the programmers, testing, okay, build and release engineers. All these guys comes under development team. Okay, so whenever they're trying to introduce a change into the source code, it is creating a lot of task. It's creating a lot of problem to the operation guys. Okay, why? The operation teams has to coordinate with different teams like development team, testing team, QA team, and prepare the documentation, deploy the what are the new changes has happened, right? They have to test it in different environments. Okay, and they have to test in various environments, and okay, so and they have to create a lot of documentation part. They have to coordinate with the client whether that is working or not. All these tasks has to be managed by the operation team guys. Now this created a gap. Okay, these guys don't want to introduce the change, and development team has to introduce the change as per the customer's requirement. Okay, they want to introduce change, they don't want to work on this change. Okay, so this created a gap between the development team and operation team. They want to introduce change, and they don't want to introduce change. So this created a gap between the development team and operation team. Okay, this is happening in a lot of projects. So how to overcome this problem? How can we reduce this gap between the development team and operation team? Okay, for that reason, a new concept was created called DevOps. Okay, DevOps. Now DevOps stands for development here, and Ops stands for operations. Okay, DevOps is nothing but development and as well as operations. So DevOps is a concept which has been created to fill up the gap, to build the gap between these two teams. Okay, so DevOps engineer is a person who is going to work along with the development team and as well as operation team to fill up the gap. Okay, so what are the challenges are being faced by both the teams? He will be able to DevOps engineer will be able to fill up the gap up that gap by using some automation techniques. Okay, he'll be using some tools and automation techniques and scripting knowledge to fill up the gap. Okay, so he'll try to automate the things which is happening, and he'll try to reduce the gap between these two teams. Okay, so what are those tools? So these are the some of the tools which is being used by a DevOps engineer. Okay, in DevOps practice, okay, there we have different stages in software development, right? Planning, design, code, build, test, monitor. Okay, for different stages we have different tools. Okay, so these are the some of the tools which you are going to learn: Git, Maven, Jenkins, Nagios, Kubernetes, Ansible, Chef, AWS, Docker. All these tools we are going to learn. Okay, so these are some of the famous tools which are being used in real time. Okay, not every company should use. There is no rule that every company should use these tools. Okay, these are like example. Okay, these are some of the famous tools which are being used in real time today. Okay, now by this after this slide completes, we should get a idea, right, what exactly DevOps is and what exactly DevOps engineer should do on a day-to-day basis. Okay, so basically DevOps engineer is a person who is having a very good knowledge on software development lifecycle, how exactly the software development is going on in a project. Okay, so he'll be having knowledge in automation tools, different tools. Okay, and he will be able to work with development team and operation team in order to reduce the gap. What are the challenges they are facing, he'll be able to fix those challenges. Okay, so DevOps engineer should have knowledge in scripting languages like Python, Ruby, Perl, JavaScript, whatever scripting languages are there, right? At least one scripting language knowledge should be there. Okay, so I'm going to teach you Python, basic level of Python scripting, which is required for DevOps engineer. Okay, after that, DevOps engineer should have knowledge in CI/CD pipelines. CI/CD pipeline, this is a separate concept we have to discuss in Jenkins class. So basically CI/CD means what are the entire stages are there, right? From designing to development, development to testing, testing to QA, QA to deployment, right? All these stages are there, right? All these stages should happen continuously without any manual intervention. These stages should pass. Okay, so how to set up this pipeline, how to set up this automation, that is what the knowledge should be having by a DevOps engineer. Okay, so he'll be using different tools like Chef and Ansible for managing the servers. We have a lot of servers in software development, right? In SDLC we'll be having a lot of servers. In order to manage these servers, we'll be using the tools like Chef and Ansible. Okay, so apart from this, he'll be working with Docker containers as well. So what are Docker containers and all, we'll discuss in Docker class. Okay, we have separate tool called Docker. In Docker we'll be discussing what exactly Docker containers are. Okay, so day-to-day activities of a DevOps engineer, what exactly DevOps engineer is going to do on a day-to-day basis. So he'll be creating the pipeline, he'll be maintaining that pipeline, the entire CI/CD, right? Entire the automation is working properly or not. If there are any issues, he'll try to fix them. Okay, he'll be working on build and maintaining these servers. Okay, by using Jenkins and Nagios tools. Okay, he'll be working with operation team guys for fixing the issues and diagnose any build failures. Okay, apart from this, he'll be working on engineering and architecture enhancements. What are the modifications required in order to make the pipeline work, the automation work? He'll be trying to do those changes as well. Okay, so these are some of the sample. Okay, these are some of the important day-to-day activities. There is no rule that in every project, in every company, these rules will be same. Okay, this might change according to the project requirement and organization requirements. Okay, clear it? So points to be remembered. Okay, there are some points which needs to be understand. So a lot of people think that DevOps is a tool, guys. DevOps is not about tools. Okay, DevOps is not about tools. DevOps is a process. Okay, it's a methodology which is implemented which is implemented in software development lifecycle to bridge the gap between different teams. Okay, it's not a tool. Okay, so a lot of people ask me, Venkat, can I learn DevOps tool and I can become a DevOps engineer? No, I simply straight away say that DevOps is not a tool, guys. It's a process. Okay, it's a methodology. Cloud computing knowledge has become mandatory. Today a lot of companies are migrating, they're shifting their infrastructure from physical to cloud. Okay, like cloud like AWS, Azure, GCP, OCP. Okay, so any cloud platform, at least one cloud service knowledge should be there. Okay, so that is why we are learning AWS as well, which is required for DevOps. Okay, so some people ask me, I'm from different background, I'm from marketing, I'm from banking, I'm from financial, so I don't have knowledge in IT industry, can I switch to DevOps? I can say that yes, you guys can switch to DevOps as well. Okay, because we are learning from scratch here, right? The entire CI/CD pipeline we are going to learn from scratch. So yes, there is a scope for non-IT background guys as well in DevOps. Okay, so Linux fundamentals, okay, Linux basic knowledge is advantage. If you know Linux, okay, if you know the commands and all, fine, it will be very added advantage. If you don't know, don't worry, because I'm going to teach you from scratch level. Okay, from the starting level I'm going to teach you what exactly Linux is. Okay, what are the commands and all, how to use those commands and all, I'll be teaching you. Programming knowledge will be added advantage. If you have knowledge in programming languages like Java, okay, C or something, that will be added advantage. But if you don't know, don't worry, because we will be having very limited scope of programming in our DevOps tools. Okay, so we have a lot of opportunities for DevOps roles, guys. If you open naukri.com, or if you open LinkedIn uh, today, and if you search for DevOps role, you can find a lot of job opportunities for DevOps roles. Okay, both in India as well as abroad. Okay, so here Srinivas is telling that he's not able to hear. Guys, what about other guys? You are able to hear my voice without any issues? Is my voice clear? Can anyone can confirm that?
Yes, yes, Venkat.
Yeah. Srinivas, I think there is an issue with your end. Can you please rejoin the meeting once again? Okay. Yeah. Please rejoin the meeting. Please exit and please rejoin once again. There is a problem from your end, I guess. Okay. Fine. So guys, okay, so that's what I was discussing. DevOps is all about, it's not about tools, but it's all about process, how exactly the software development goes on. Okay, so we are going to learn these tools over the next 60 days period. Okay, over the next 60 days period, we are going to learn Linux, we're going to learn AWS, introduction to AWS, EC2 service, auto scaling part, load balancer part, all these tools we are going to learn. Then we'll be discussing Git, Docker, Ansible, Jenkins, Maven, CloudWatch, and Nagios, which are for monitoring purposes. Chef is for configuration management purposes. Kubernetes for container orchestration. And apart from this, we'll be using Python scripting basics. Okay, Python scripting as well. Okay, these are the tools, these are the concepts we are going to learn over the next 60 days period. Okay, these tools are different stages. Okay, these tools will be used in different stages of software development lifecycle. Okay, so what exactly you guys need for starting this course? You will be needing a laptop, you'll be needing a AWS account, which I have just told you how to create the account and all for practicing it, and you'll be need Putty and Puttygen. These are SSH applications. This needs to be downloaded and installed on your laptop for connecting to the Linux servers. Okay, so these three things are important. Fine. So what exactly I'm going to offer? I'm going to offer first theory part. What are the concepts I'm going to teach you? I'll be giving you the theoretical knowledge. Then immediately after that, I'll be giving the practical implementation. What are theory part is there, right? I'm going to implement that in a practical level. Okay, I'll be showing you into the Linux server. I'm going to launch the EC2 instance. I'm going to show it in the practical way as well. Then immediately after, once in each and every tool is completed, okay, I'll be sharing you the interview question and answers. Okay, so that you guys, if you guys are preparing for DevOps interviews, you can parallelly you can practice it for interviews as well. Okay, I'll be providing you the material. The documentation part is there, right? I'll be providing the documentation in Word format, and I'll be providing that documentation. You can refer it and you can practice it at your home. And if you guys are interested, if you guys have time for that, I'll be giving a mock assessment as well. You can try to assess yourself how much you have understood that particular tool. Okay, I'll be taking a small assessment which will be like for 15-20 minutes, and you can assess yourself how much you have understood a particular topic. Okay, and finally at the end of the classes, I'll be giving you resume preparation and tips. What exactly you have to keep in your resume, what are the points needs to be mentioned in the resumes, and how exactly you can crack the interview. Okay, some tips will be provided. Okay, so this is what I'm going to offer. Okay, so if you guys are interested, please let me know. We'll be starting our class from tomorrow onwards. Okay, any doubts guys until now? Any doubts with respect to the course or any other details you need? So I'll be taking classes guys for 60 days, 60 sessions. Okay, this will
Venkat, you will
complete, I mean,
cover,
yeah, go ahead.
Venkat, you can cover the Nagios also,
Yeah, I told you, right? I'm going to cover Nagios as well. See here,
because in your
Nagios.
syllabus it is not there. That's why I'm asking.
See here, the highlighted part, this one.
No, not here. Whatever the content uploaded in that Durgasoft site, it is not mentioned. That's why I
Oh,
asked.
okay. Maybe that's not updated one. Maybe not. That is not updated one. Let me show you this. Uh, let me show you the updated content. Okay. I think I need to talk to them and upload the new content page.
No, no, I think it is updated. Okay, okay. It's my mistake. Yeah, it
See
is
here.
there.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
it
this is
is
the
there.
updated document,
Yeah,
guys.
yes.
I'm going to
Yes, yes, it is there. Okay, this is the updated
okay.
one. No? Okay. Yeah, yeah, it is mentioned.
Hmm.
Right.
So
Docker, Kubernetes,
okay.
everything is added.
So
Yeah.
I'm going. Yeah,
Ansible and
Docker,
Chef, both you
Kubernetes,
are
Chef.
talking, right? Yeah, some are,
Yeah.
yeah, Chef also you
Not
can
many.
talk about.
Not many people offer this Ansible and Chef. I'm going to offer both configuration management tools. Okay, not many
Okay.
institutes offer this. Okay, so think about it. So I'm going to take 60 days class. Okay, 60 days I'm going to cover these classes from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. Okay,
And
7 a.m.
Venkat,
to
one
8 a.m.
question, like, is it sufficient 60 days? Like,
Yeah, I mean for cracking the interview, right? Yeah, that will be enough. What are the knowledge I'm going to offer?
means as I mentioned, like, we need to be, how much 3 years of experience can I show, like, here
Yes,
as a
yes, you can
DevOps
easily,
after
you
completing
can
your
easily,
course, like,
yeah, you can easily show
in that
3+
level,
years
like,
of
yeah.
experience.
And the
Yeah.
resume preparation and everything will be how to guide, right? How to prepare, how to add all those.
Yes, yes, I'll definitely show you how to create. I mean, see, let me show you that 1 second.
Means how to prepare the resume nowadays, like what the interviewer are looking
Yes,
and
yes.
that kind.
Yeah. So see here, I'll be sharing you these resumes. Okay, these are my previous students' resumes. Okay, I'll be sharing you these resumes. So you can use these resumes. You can add some points in your resume. Okay, you can take some
Yes,
points from these
as per
resumes and you
our
can add them.
convenient, whatever I know, yeah,
Yeah.
in that way we can
Yeah.
prepare.
So you can modify it. You can modify it according to your previous experience. Okay. So what are the knowledge you have? You can modify it according to your need. So I'll be sharing you these resumes and all. Okay. So you can use them and you can
And
practice it.
yeah, and Venkat, what are the that okay, 60 days, 7 to 8. Yeah, regular timing 7 to 8, no?
Yeah, 7 to 8 a.m. Indian Standard Time. Okay. If people who are joining from
Okay,
abroad,
okay.
so they need to convert it as per their time zone. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. And we'll be what every session, every 60 days session will be recorded. Okay. And it will be Google Drive will be there. In Google Drive, that video will be uploaded by the Durgasoft team. Okay, they'll record this session, they'll upload in the Google Drive, and if by chance if you guys have missed that class due to some personal reasons, you can go on to Google Drive, you can view that day's recording. Okay, so you will be not, in that way you will be not missing any classes. Okay, and Monday to Friday. Okay, 60 days means Monday to Friday, guys. Okay, not on weekends. So I'll be not taking classes on Monday to Friday. Not I mean I'll be not taking classes on Saturday and Sunday because Saturday and Sunday is totally for practicing. You guys can practice the entire what are the classes are taking place in weekdays, right? You can practice it on Saturday and Sundays. Okay, Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. Okay, and in this Google Drive, I'll be uploading the documentation part, the documents and all, the interview resumes and all, and everything will be uploaded in the Google Drive. Okay, and apart from this, if you guys have any doubts with respect to the fees and all, you can I'll be sharing in the mobile number and email address. Okay, so you guys can talk to the management. Yeah, I have sent the email address and mobile number in the chat box. You can take that mobile number. You can talk to them about the fee structure, and you can enroll yourself for this course. Okay.
And what is our the project, Venkat? Like,
Project at the end of once the Maven is completed, Maven tool. Once the once these tools are completed. Okay, once these tools are completed, I'm going to take a project on one weekend on Saturday, which will be like around 2 hours of session. Okay, in that I'll be teaching you a project. Okay, an end-to-end pipeline from Git, Docker, Ansible, and Jenkins. Okay, all these tools, Maven, including Maven, all these tools are going to be integrated together, and I'm going to show you the entire CI/CD pipeline. This will be entirely automated. Okay, entire CI/CD pipeline will be shown, which you can showcase it in your resume. Okay,
okay, all
so
the
this,
description, everything, right? What are the things
yes,
used? Everything will be. Okay.
use case and exact entire use cases and all, entire what how
Okay.
exactly the setup is done, all the things will be showcased. I mean, it will be shown to you. This will be a 2 hour session. It will be taken on one Saturday. Okay.
Okay. And earlier in the demo, you have told like for DevOps engineer, Python is needed. Is it mandatory Python to learn
uh,
as a DevOps engineer? You prefer the
uh
Python, right? To
hmm. Python, see, in today's world, a lot of companies are asking for scripting knowledge. Okay, any scripting knowledge, whether it's Shell, Bash, Ruby, Perl, but I prefer Python because the syntax, what are the syntax we have to write is very easy, and a lot of modules. Okay, the support, the community support is there, right? We can access internet for a lot of Python scripts and all. There is a lot of support in the internet. Okay, in the Google.
so it is similar
So
like self scripting. Are you teaching
uh,
self scripting also in Linux? Like,
no, I'm not going to teach shell scripting because since we are learning Python, we don't have to learn two things, right? So any
yeah,
one
yeah,
scripting
right,
knowledge,
right.
any one scripting knowledge is enough. So I'm preferring
Okay,
here Python.
okay, okay, okay.
Okay.
Got it. Yeah, fine.
So any other doubts, guys? So if you guys are interested to enroll yourself, you can I have created a WhatsApp group for the existing students, and I will add your numbers into that WhatsApp group. You can get the latest updates of this course. Okay, so if you guys are interested, you can share your mobile number in the chat box. Any other doubts, guys? Any other doubts with respect to the course or anything you want to ask me? So yesterday was the first session. Today I've taken backup a demo for you guys, and tomorrow we'll be continuing with our AWS class, how to launch the instance and all. Okay. So if you guys are interested in enrolling yourself to join this course, you can share your mobile number. I'll be adding your mobile number into the WhatsApp group. For enter the course details and all, the documentation part also will be shared in that WhatsApp group. Okay. Okay. So any other doubts, guys? Shall we wrap it up? Any doubts, Samra? Srinivas, do you have any doubts? Okay. So fine. So that's it, right, guys? Any doubts? If you want to share your mobile number, you can chat. You can share it in the chat box. Okay. Fine. So that's it from my end, guys. So I hope to see you in the next session. Okay. Thank you for joining, and let's catch up tomorrow at 7 a.m. Okay. Thank you so much. Bye.